What an introduction.
That means go.
Yeah, that's sign language for go. Macaton. Is it Macaton? Macaton shell. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sign language.
Sorry?
Sign language.
Yeah, what kids do at nurseries and things, yeah.
I
Yeah.
was Wayne's World. Have you seen Wayne's World?
Years and years and years ago.
3.
Means nothing to me, that.
Yeah.
No. I see you've cut your hair again.
I have.
What does Emily think about it? The fact that you've got more hair on your chin than you have on your head. It looks like your head's upside down.
Chin?
Yeah. What does Emily think about it?
I don't know. She doesn't mind it so much. She said, "I look like Bruce Willis in Die Hard 2."
It's a bit special tonight. We've got our wives sat with us, haven't we? Charlotte's to my left.
Emily's to my straight in front of me.
Yeah, I like it. But we're back again. Another great guest, someone who we wanted on from the beginning, from a long time ago. We wanted to, I think when we went down to, when we did the London trip, I think we was originally was he supposed to come on then?
I think so, yeah. But as we say in the podcast, like, he's a busy bugger, isn't he?
He's literally in everything. It's just you just put anything on and he's just there and he's in it, isn't he?
He's in now 2 of the like most watched programs that's on at the moment,
which are both sick, by the way. Have you seen them both? Have you seen any of them?
No, I need to watch it. Like we say in this, I just don't have time to binge watch anything. So making our way through Normal People at the moment.
Normal People, yeah.
Yeah, so Danny's in
Code 404.
404
and yeah, White Lines, which I'm on episode 8. So as soon as we stop this podcast, I'll be going back onto it. It's unbelievable. He's amazing. He's doing the Manchester accent as well, Danny.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, it's really good.
When you said I'm on episode 8, did you hear what I said?
No.
I was like, oh, you're in it.
Oh no, God no. They won't have me. They won't have me. I'm not allowed in Ibiza anymore. I'm banned. I went to Ibiza in 2017. I'm not allowed back.
Imagine that call with your agent. Tomo, so they really want you for this part, but they've now they've moved filming from Cleethorpes to Ibiza, and
yeah,
you're not allowed back there.
Well, it happened to me, that didn't it? It happened with me with the job that I won't mention any names, but when I was supposed to go to America, can you remember? And I got to the airport and with the whole Esther things. Can you remember? No. Oh well, I'll ring you after this and I'll explain, because I don't know if I'm allowed to mention it. But again, and not because of any criminal records, but it was because of a mistake. I wasn't allowed into the States, so I couldn't do a job, which was a bit of a nightmare. But I mean, Danny's traveling all over, and he's got also White Lines has got Kel Spellman, who's been on the podcast before, who's also brilliant.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to watching it, to be honest. Just trying to binge watch as much as possible. But yeah, Danny, obviously you've worked with him on Swimming with Men.
Yeah, which was good fun. I mean, we touched base on it a little bit in the chat, but yeah, he's just a joy to be around. He's quite like his personality is quite addictive. He's just funny. He's a bit like Joe Gilgan in his own way. He's just a bit like just on his own planet and just sort of has a bit of fun. And he does a great Michael Jackson impersonation. He dances like Michael Jackson very, very well.
Nice.
Yeah, but he's so talented.
Yeah, he is, and like you say, it shows because he never stops, does he? Which is brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. And his subject is flash cars.
Cars, which I sort of agree with. I've never really been into flashy cars or anything, but again, I passed my test sort of 2 or 3 years ago, so I'm not really into. You are?
Time yet?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's time for you to pass your test.
You're already playing golf. Your next midlife crisis will be a Ferrari, won't it?
Yeah, well, I can't afford Ferraris. It'll have to be like I don't know, what would I have? Like can you remember them old Ford Escorts convertibles, them really fast ones? Maybe I'd have one of them.
And talking of haircuts, before we get into the podcast, yours is looking good.
Yeah, Charlotte did it, mate. Yeah, she did it on When did you do my hair, Charlotte? I want to say Tuesday, Wednesday, yeah. She'd never done it before. She's the first time she's ever picked up some clippers. She just followed a video on YouTube and just went for it. Because I said to her, if you mess it up, it don't matter, I'll just shave it off. Yeah. And you know what? I've walked out of hairdressers with worse haircuts, genuinely. So,
good.
Happy with that.
Anyway, let's get on to the podcast.
Yeah.
Daniel Mays. And again, guys, do stick around after the podcast. There is a little 5-minute debrief.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll hopefully tell you who next week's guest is as well, which will be fun.
Yeah. Also, just quickly, you might notice, listening to the episode, there is a couple of technical difficulties in the sound. And that's something to do with the Wi-Fi. Basically, Andy gets his Wi-Fi from Aldi, so it's not very good. So there's a little skips in audio. But other than that,
I used to get it from Lidl, but now I get it from Aldi. So it's
Netto connection. I love it.
couple of little twitches. If you're watching the video, it'll just jump a bit. If you're listening on audio, you'll hear that noticeable kind of little jib.
Jib.
We're doing what we can.
We're doing what we can.
Damn pandemic.
Exactly. Enjoy.
Enjoy. Right, we're on.
We've got real life Danny Mays, actual Danny Mays.
We've caught him.
Wait, this isn't live now, is it? This is a pre-record.
No, it's not live. No.
All right, yeah. All right, stand down. All stand down. You go.
How you doing, mate?
I was going to bring in the dancers.
I was.
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm. Well, I say I'm all right. I'm. We were chatting just now. I'm sort of reached the peak. I think I want to go back to work, and for the first time this week, I've started to feel a bit not panicky is too strong a word, but it's that feeling of it becoming the norm and not necessarily knowing where the outcome of this is. I mean, I'm thinking about my profession and eventually going back to work. So. Yeah, I mean, I think I've had me full of homeschooling, lads.
I guess it must be different for you as well, because like me and Tomo have had this conversation a few times. Like for us, it's starting to feel less normal now, but like the first couple of weeks, it was like, oh, it kind of just feels like I've finished a job, and I don't know what the next job is. But I mean, you're a busy bugger. You don't stop, do you? So does this feel like when you started out acting again, or?
A little bit. I mean, I'd had a really great run of jobs recently, and then I'd finished something for ITV, and then I was having a bit of downtime, just sort of getting my life back a little bit. So when the sort of corona crisis hit, I was very much not working. So, but now I'm 2 months down the line, and I'm just sort of itching to get back, like all of us, I guess.
Yeah, just like even like obviously, we're always itching to get on a stage or in front of a camera because it's what we love in it. But just to be around other people that aren't your kids or your wife would be nice.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I dearly love my wife and kids, you just need. It's just that thing of having your own space and, like you say, reconnecting with people. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's been absolutely amazing to have proper family time because, like you say, Andy, I've sort of been working a hell of a lot. So, and you know how all-consuming that can become. So, I've really enjoyed the closeness that we've found, and I mean, I know I'm moaning about homeschooling, but it's a really sort of valuable exercise to go through and all that stuff. But it's just, I guess more for your own self to sort of. I didn't realise how much I missed acting until it was sort of taken away from me. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of part and parcel of who we are. So certainly for me. So I've really desperately missed that communication and sort of camaraderie that you naturally find on a film set or in a rehearsal room or whatever it is,
Yeah. Particularly coming off the back of Code 404. Because you and Stephen have always said how much fun that was doing that. And you could tell by watching it
It was probably one of the only things that I've watched recently that it's actually made me laugh out loud. Like I was, and I don't know. I mean, it's brilliant, but because I know you so well and because I know Stephen so well, you sort of got that different connection with it. But I mean, the scenes, the bit on top of the car park was literally.
It was great. I mean, we just, you know, I mean, it's a perfect show to release in lockdown, isn't it? Because it's sort of, it's a bit silly, it's a bit slapstick, and so you can sort of switch your brain off and just sit back and enjoy it for like half an hour.
It was also made with real heart as well, like the you know, the relationship between you and your wife in it and stuff. It's so
I mean, I've worked with Steve years ago on another comedy called Top Buzzer. So
I never realised you was in that. I've seen because Perry Benson's in that as well.
Yeah, Perry's in it, and James Lance and Ashley Walters. So
years.
Yeah. I mean, that was such a scream all those years ago. I mean, it was the job that I met my wife on. Like Stephen sort of got us together. It's all his fault. But I've always stayed in contact with Steve, but obviously he's so busy, isn't he? And he's so brilliant at what he does. So we've always connected with one another and said if there's anything that sort of we can do together, you know, try and get it off the ground. And then Code 404 just fell into my lap, and I just immediately thought of Stephen, you know, because we'd worked so well together on Top Buzzer, and it was so just to really get in the room with him again and have 5 weeks. We didn't stop laughing. I mean, it was they've released the outtakes reel, and
love that.
Yeah. There's an extended outtakes reel of. I mean, we would literally put 20 minutes on each day because we were just creasing up the whole time. So, and it's, you know, I've done a lot of serious stuff, as have Stephen and Anna Maxwell Martin, who's in it as well. So it's just great to just, you know, play in the comedy world. But there are moments in it that have great pathos and serious drama, and, you know, so, I mean, Stephen brings that tenfold, doesn't he? So for me, Code 404, for all its goofiness, it's really got sort of, like you say, a lot of heart to it as well. It's a good relationship, love triangle thing going on with the wife character as well. So, but the response has been amazing. We're really, you know, it was just great. You know, your Twitter feed keeps going off with people just saying it's the funniest thing they've seen in years. So you can't say fairer than that.
Well, that means they must be making another one then, surely, because it is left open for another one.
Oh, I can't possibly give you that piece of information on your podcast. I think they're going to make an announcement shortly, but I think the numbers are great. So, and the reviews have been good. So we'll wait and see. I mean, I think unanimously we all, you know, would love to do another series, and obviously where it ends, it leaves the door open.
Yeah. You need to schedule that around Swimming with Men too, though.
You're going to have to dig out those trunks again, aren't you, Tomo?
That was good fun, wasn't it?
In the closet there somewhere.
That was good fun, wasn't it?
It was great, yeah. I mean, when are we ever going to do a film like that ever again, unless there is a sequel? I mean, I was talking to, who was it, Gabby Roslin. I did an interview with her for a radio show, and she brought it up, and I mean, as soon as you sort of mentioned that film, I immediately just think how knackering it all was. I mean, it was like, it sounds like a whole lot of fun, doesn't it? A male synchronised swimming drama.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. And the cast was great, Tomo and Rob Brydon and Rupert Graves. I think, yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. And can you swim? Yeah, can swim. Did a little swim test.
That first training session that we did.
Yeah. Then we get to the first day of training at the Olympic swimming pool. Fuck me. I was absolutely knackered by the end of it. And I can't do this for another 6-7 weeks.
Yeah, it was hard work. And then when we went back and did the comic relief thing, didn't we? I think we had, what did we have? Was sort of like 6 months away from swimming to then go back and do another routine. It was knackering, mate.
It was literally thrown into the deep end. And like on that first day, it was like, right, okay, I'll grab Tomo's leg, Adil's shoulder, and we were all, it was that thing of, do you remember, we're all in the changing room, we're all getting undressed, it was all revealing, and then we're all sort of jumped in the swimming pool and we're grabbing each other's bodies, and I thought, this is just so weird. But it really did immediately sort of bond us together, didn't it?
Yeah, there was no sort of uncomfortableness, was there?
Well, no,
I never thought that I'd be doing the wilting flower with Uncle Bryn. From Gabby. I never thought that had ever happened. But no, that was great. That was good.
I mean, it was hard work, wasn't it? And Adele, who was our swim captain, was amazing with us. And yeah, lovely experience. Great times.
Yeah, it was. But so obviously, as the listeners know, this is probably the most interview form that we've ever done at the start of a chat, really, isn't it? This is probably the most work chat that we've ever had on the podcast. But what we do is we get our guests to come on with a subject that they feel is overrated. So we can have a bit of a talking point. And you was texting me last night, weren't you? And saying about what your subject was, if you want to tell us what it was.
It was it's such a difficult question in many ways to answer. I thought, what can I come up with, or what springs to mind? And the first, what I think, not necessarily fast, but sort of flashy, expensive cars are something that I think is overrated. And I'm thinking, why did that pop into my head? Because way back when I first passed my driving test at 17, I was really into nice cars, and I would, you'd see a Ferrari drive past, Testarossa or something like that. So I was really into it. But when I passed my driving test, the car my first car was a Mini Cooper. It was a 1.3i injection Mini Cooper. The classic shape, not the new shape.
The Mr. Bean.
Exactly that. And I sort of...
You noticed how I went Italian job and he went Mr. Bean.
Yeah, that was my dream car. As soon as I saw it, I fell in love with it. And I think I found it in the Auto Trader or something like that, or a private buyer or something. And I said, this is what I'm going to get as my first car. And then my dad went, no way are you getting a 1.3i injection Mini Cooper for your first car? I said, what are you talking about? Now, listen to me, boy, he said. When you pass your driving test, you only learn how to drive. He said, that's the first stage. You learn how to drive within the first 6 months of passing your driving test.
They teach you how to pass your test. You teach yourself how to drive. That's what they say.
Yeah. He says it's a completely different ball game, when you're on the open road and you're on your own. And I said, no. But he said, you just want to get a banger, because I guarantee you're going to have an accident. You're going to, I said, no, it's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. I don't know why I've gone into this anecdote straight away. I'm talking about flashy.
Well, like it.
But I sort of, for me, it was a kind of flashy, look at me sort of motor, right? And then literally I was dropping a friend off 6 months later, and I got lost on my way home. I was looking, and I'll never forget the sign on the road the light wasn't working on it or something. And I was like, is that does that say Chinkford? And I looked up, and I'd gone straight for a crossing. The red lights of the traffic lights just flashed past me, and I'd gone straight for a red light and bounced off a Rover. It was terrible. Spun the car, wrote the car off. I felt like I'd blacked out. And all I could remember when I came round was, if you're looking for faster love. George Michael was on the radio. So whenever I hear that song, I'm like, no, it takes me back. And I it felt like I completely spun the car around, and it mounted the curb. And that was the other thing that my dad said to me. He said, whatever you do, you're not buying a Mini, because they are notoriously terrible if, you're in a car accident. It's like you're in a little box. Because it was like a little go-kart driving around. It's a really nippy little thing. And then I wrote the car off, and I looked in the rearview mirror when I had the accident, and this front of this green Rover had completely caved in, and there was an elderly guy just sort of looked like he was completely out of it. And I thought, it was just panic stations. I jumped out, I ran to the car, and all of a sudden he sort of came round, and he was this Irish guy, and he started swearing at me, and I was like, I've never been so thankful that someone had started swearing and cursing at me. He was like, you little fucker, you fucking little. And I was like, are you all right? You all right? Anyway, cut a long story short, I phoned my dad. I said, listen, I've had an accident. And he got on his white van and he drove up, and I'll never forget, I was sitting on the edge of the curb like this. And I was distraught. My first beautiful Mini Cooper car was a write-off, and he just walked up to me and he looked at the car and he went, what have you done?
You guys...
Good, because I think just as I've got older, I think I'm much more into the mindset of if it's practical. I've got two kids. And if it gets me to A to B in a safe, secure way, it sort of does the trick for me. Do you know what I mean?
That's what it's all about. You've got a cash guy, haven't you? And
I've got what? A cash guy? No, we've a T-Rock now. I've got a new one.
Oh,
So similar kind of thing, just like a slightly biggish family car. But yeah, because I'm exactly the same as you, mate. Like I don't drive. Admittedly, my missus does the driving. But I remember being a kid and looking at like you say Ferraris going past or something and being like, oh yeah. I think I used to really love Lotus. Is it Lotus Elises?
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But, like, as you kind of get older, I guess it's kind of like it's just practicality, innit? I couldn't imagine, having even like a little Audi A3, little nippy thing like that, like putting like the kids in the back of that. It's just sometimes a bit cramped, aren't they?
Yeah. No, I've actually driven a Ferrari. I did an episode. Just popped into my head. I did an episode of Hustle. Do you remember that show? And I was like this like wannabe Alan Sugar entrepreneur, and I had to drive a Ferrari F40, is it? And it was like we filmed it in Birmingham.
Ah, right. Okay.
And they got me behind this Ferrari, and I'd given it a little test ride. But I'm telling you, it is so low to the ground. I was just like, I couldn't even get in and out of the bloody thing. I was just like, it wasn't particularly comfortable, but my God, you could feel the power as soon as you put your foot down. But whenever I see like Top Gear or shows like that, when they are in these amazing supercars and they open it up, but they're on a test track, and I always look at it and think, yeah, if you have one of them, when and where are you ever going to drive it like that?
Particularly if you live in London. If you live in central London, why would you have like a Bugatti Veyron or whatever that are £1 million?
Yeah.
Because you're going to get a cyclist that's going to clatter into the back of you, and then they're not insured, and then next thing you've got a £5,000.
This is the other reason why I've got a beaten up cash guy, is because our street, I've got no driveway. We live on a, that you've got to park your car on the street. It's a bit of a nightmare, my street, in terms of parking and things like that. But, we're in the middle of London. We're always getting nicks. And, I reversed the car, and the neighbour's got one of those tyres on the back, and I've done a dent in the car. And it's just like, after a while, you just think,
what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah, in London, there's no point, is there? But
No.
just going back to what your dad said about your first car, I don't know if that's a dad's thing. Like, no matter what car you think about buying for your first car, because my dad did exactly the same. I bought an Audi A3 for my first one. It was an older one.
Right, yeah.
But as soon as I got to the garage and I said to my dad, I said, that's the one. He was like, nah. He said, you don't, what? He said, you don't need that. What do you need that for? And I was like, it's just what I really, really want. Because my mate had one, and I remember he used to drive me to London quite a lot. And I remember, I don't know what it was, but because we'd done a lot of road trips in this nice Audi, and it was quite quick and it was nice to look at. And I thought that's what I wanted. And my dad straight away was like, no, you're not having that. But I bought it anyway. And within 6 weeks, I needed to take it into the garage. And because it was an Audi S-Line thing, it was, instead of it being £200 to fix, it was £1,200 to fix. And instead of paying, 40 quid for a new tyre for an Astra, you're paying 100 quid for a new tyre because it's an Audi. And I think just with all these expensive cars that you pay a lot of money for, there's also the upkeep of them that are just twice as much as there would be if you was to buy like an Astra or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
It is the most amazing feeling in the world, though. One of the moments in your life when you first pass your driving test, isn't it?
Yeah, it was great.
Did you? Andy, you don't drive?
No. I
don't drive.
I've done a few lessons and stuff in the past, and I booked my test. And the day that I booked my test, I started filming. I think it might have been This Is England 90. So one of them was like, I'll do it again. And then my first little girl was born, and then I've just never. I live literally. There's a tram stop there. Literally, I can see it.
Right. Yeah.
Do really.
But Andy, say if you get a part and you got to drive or something like that. How does that work out?
Stunt doubles mostly.
Stunt double, yeah.
It's work aroundable, innit? I guess. I need to get it done. I can drive. Drove a bit, not shouldn't have, but I have done a bit. But yeah.
I always said, like, if you live in a city, like there's no point. Like it's very rare that I will drive to London, and if I do drive to London, I drive to Chingford, and I'll park in Chingford, and then I'll get the tube into the city centre.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So
how come you chose Chingford though? That's quite near where I used to grow up. Where I grew up.
Well, it started as Epping. I just kind of looked at the top of it because
you're definitely over my neck of the woods there.
Yeah. Well, is it Central Line that goes to Epping?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I can go to Epping and then I can park around there for free, and then I can get on the Central Line straight into the city centre, and it's dead easy.
I've had my fair share of waking up at the end of the Central Line at Epping in my misspent youth. When you're like, oh no, not here again. It takes you back.
But I think in London and places like Manchester, there's no point in driving. I get, like, for me, because Grimsby's kind of like out of the way of everywhere. Say if I need to go and do like a voiceover or whatever, the chances are I'd have to drive to Manchester or go to London and things like that. So I guess it's just easy, particularly if you've got kids. Like,
I mean, the thing is now with everything that's happening, I think everyone's going to be on bikes, right, in London. I mean, it's sort of no one's on public transport. Well, people are. I know they've said that people can go back to work, but I'm not sure how safe that is. So it feels like there'll be a much more dependency on walking and getting using your bike and all that stuff. I mean, everyone's
using a bike, I think, particularly in London. If you've got a push bike, like Rupert Graves, who me and you worked with on Swimming with Men, he used to cycle to work every morning, didn't he?
He was on his bike the whole time, wasn't he? Yeah. He used to feel quite guilty to get in the Uber.
The biggest legs you've ever seen.
What, Rupert?
Yeah, because he just used to cycle everywhere.
That's a brave production company in it, right? I mean, I've done jobs in London where, they want to pick you up at 5 a.m. to be there at 9. And I've been like, I'll just get the tube at 8. And they don't this, so letting him ride in on his bike, that's...
Yeah. Maybe it was a deal breaker for him.
Yeah.
I've been...
ride his bike.
I've just bought some bikes.
Right.
I love it.
Like a proper road bike, Tom?
No, I just bought a mountain bike.
Yeah.
But it's got the nice big thick tyres, so it's easy to get around. But me and Charlotte, we did nearly 30 miles last week, we cycled.
Yeah.
And I think if you're in central London, you can get anywhere you need to be on a bike quick enough.
Yeah.
Do you know
Hold on, you did 30 miles in 1 hour?
No. You're allowed more than 1 hour exercise now. It was yesterday.
Oh, yeah, you said it was a couple of weeks ago, though, Tomo. I won't say anything, don't worry about it.
But I was out in the countryside.
But, right, yeah.
Well, no, I enjoy cycling. I don't mind it. And I guess, like, how old was you when you passed your test, Dan? Was you
17? I passed first time, yeah. It was just like that when she said those words, just like to congratulate you, passed your test. It's just like a moment of absolute euphoria, isn't it? Because you suddenly, I mean, as soon as you get your wheels, it's that sort of sense of freedom, isn't it? You're mobile, you can go out and discover the world a little bit, and then go for a red light and write your car off.
Was it a first time pass for you, Dan? Did you pass?
Yeah, first time. And I was way back then. You didn't have to do the. You have to do a theory test now, don't you? You have to go and. So there's a lot more. I didn't think I did anything like that. It was the parallel park and the emergency stop and all that stuff.
Oh. Yeah. I found the practical test a lot harder than the theory. I passed.
So what is it? Is it multiple choice questions?
Yeah. And then you've got a hazard perception. So you've got a on the screen. There's like a scenario that's happening. Computer-made scenarios to say like you'll be driving down the road in a simulator, and then someone will come to a crossing. So you've got to click when you see the hazard.
Right.
But you can't click too many times, otherwise it gives you an instant fail. So it's kind of like you've got to click it when you see it. But I found the theory test bit a lot easier than I did the practical. But it took me 4 times to pass.
Oh, did it? Yeah.
It took me 4 times. Yeah.
So but did you ever fail on the theory?
No, I did that twice and passed first time both times on that. But I did 2 tests when I was 18, failed them both, and then kind of thought, actually, I'm 18, 19 now. I'm going to be out most weekends. I'm going to be out on the piss a lot. So it's probably a good idea that I don't get my car. So I never did that until I was I think I was 25 when I passed, and then I did another 2 when I was 25. So I've only been driving for 3 years now.
Right. Yeah.
It does. It gives you that sense of freedom, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've done one of the theory thing you were talking about. I've done the speed awareness test thing because I got done for speeding and got too many points, and that's a relatively new thing, is it? That's come in now. You have to go to
the speed.
You can either take the points or go to a speed awareness course, and I was like, obviously, I'll do that. So you have to rock up.
I was going to say, what was that like?
It was strange. I had to rock up in a hotel in London somewhere near Swiss Cottage with all these other people. And there was a load of us. There was about 30 people in a room, and you watch a screen, and it's like a sort of mock scenario, and you have, multiple choice questions of when to hit the button. I guess it helps, if you sort of just have an awareness of it,
Yeah, but sometimes you speed by accident, don't you? Just kind of like...
Yeah, but I mean, in London now, like you said, I mean, there are so many speed cameras now. There's, you're and on motorways, isn't it? You're being watched all the time, so
yeah,
it's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, Charlotte really enjoyed. She called it speeding school.
Right.
She really enjoyed her speed awareness course. She came back from it because she was the same. She got caught doing, I think it was 72 in a 60 because there was
right.
So there was roadworks or something like that. That she
was she listening to Michael Jackson's Speed Demon at the
time? She's a rule breaker. But she got caught speeding near Doncaster somewhere, so she had to go to the nearest place where she got caught speeding to do her awareness course. But yeah, she came back from it and she loved it. She really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe for a few weeks afterwards you have an awareness of it a lot more, but then it sort of seems to drifts out of your head,
Yeah.
And you're back to flooring it.
So when you crashed the Mini, then, Danny, did you look at another fast car? Have you had a decent sort of fast car since before?
No, I haven't. I mean, it's just been a progression of quite normal, basic. I had a Corsa, an Astra, and now a Qashqai. So it's a sort of, I mean, we were even thinking of maybe getting a Volvo. I mean, I've got to that stage in my life.
Volvo's 2.4
children with a Volvo because they're just so practical and, well made and things like that. So it's all about practicality now at this stage of my life.
Those new Volvos Those new Volvos drive themselves. So you can get them to drive themselves now, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they park themselves and all that.
Yeah, they do all that stuff, yeah. So you don't need to do anything.
It's crazy, isn't it? All that new technology that comes in.
Well, see, I mean, for me, this is part of my kind of, conundrum, because, I'm at an age now, like you say, where I should really drive, because then it can at least help the missus out with the kids, and especially now with all that's going on. You're going to also is relying on bikes and walking. Like, you are going to be relying on your car a bit more. But my other thing is, I'm kind of like, all right, I should learn to drive now. But then I keep hearing frigging Elon Musk saying that there's going to be driverless cars in the next 5 years. So I'm kind of like, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? I
mean, I guess there'll be electric cars a lot more, won't they? That's the new thing that's obviously coming in that the market is being saturated with. But maybe you're right. I mean, you've got, cabs and Uber services and even black cabs. You can phone, everything's on your phone now, isn't it? So
yeah.
I mean, I'm jumping around in Uber cabs all the time, and if I've got an audition or a voiceover or something like that, it's just so convenient.
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
Yeah, Uber's brilliant, really. I mean, we haven't got it in Grimsby, but say that I was on it. No, we haven't got Uber. But the job I was on in Manchester, I mean, it's just so handy. But there's a big problem with Uber drivers in London, isn't there? With the black cabbies, because black cabbies they went to I don't know, cab school for 5 years. They
have to do
You understand why they
all the black cab drivers watching this podcast, they'll be a bit of the me, won't they? But I mean, they all obviously spend time doing the knowledge, don't they, and things like that. But the thing is, isn't it? They're just priced out the market.
Yeah,
and it's how easy it is now to get an Uber. It's literally you go on your phone and go bosh, and then there's an Uber there.
I did have a weird. I was doing a play at the National, and I would get an Uber cab home from there every night. And I think I was relatively new to it, and I'd made a mistake where, you know, you could do like a pool share thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Who did you have
I just remembered now this other story. It was what was it? I was going home. There's two stories. I was going home one time, and I was inadvertently found myself in a pool share thing. So I was in the cab in my own, and I was going back. And then the guy says, "Oh, I've got to stop off and pick up this other, pickup." And I was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" He went, No, you're in a pool share. We've got to do this now. So it's on your way home. I went, "Oh, all right, okay, fine." We've only picked up these 4 girls, these 4 party girls like this, and they'd been drinking in their flat, and they were rat-ass. They all it was like party time and thing, right? Then Lou rings me on my mobile, and I'm like, "Oh my God, can you imagine that?" "Yeah, no, who's that in the background?" No, nothing. Don't worry about it. So that was that one time. I just kept. There's nothing to be, it's all fine. And I just kept getting it wrong. And then I found myself on another pool share thing. And he took me to the wrong place or something like that. And he couldn't know, that was it. I was in the cab and we were going to pick someone up, and they couldn't find the, he couldn't find the address of this person. Or he couldn't find the fare. And it was all getting a bit heated. And I went, "Look, they're not here. Let's just go anyway." Then he got lost. Then we actually ended up pulling in, and then it was just like, I said, "Look," and then we were passing Euston, and I was like, "There's a black taxi rank." I said, "Pull into the taxi rank and let me get out so I can get a black cab." And it got into this massive argument with me and the Uber cab driver, right? We pulled into a black taxi rank in an Uber, and then he locked the doors, and he wouldn't let me out. And it got really fucking heated, to the point where I was like, "Right, so you're now not letting me out of your..." And it was not pretty at all. And we got into a bad argument, and eventually let me go out. But it was just like, fucking hell, I was like trapped in this guy's Uber.
Jeez,
not good.
Some of the characters you get as the Uber drivers.
Yeah.
Some of them are so funny. But there's a lot of stories nowadays where... Did you hear about that one girl who... She was on the way home from a party in London, and she'd fallen asleep in the Uber.
Yeah.
And he'd taken her all the way around London, took her miles out of the way, charged her, I don't know, 70 quid. And she looked on the route that he'd taken, and it was all the way around. But, like, surely they must know that they're all on GPS, so they know what route's being taken.
Yeah, there was that huge issue, weren't there, with their licensing laws. I don't know if that's all still going through or...
I'm not sure what happened with that, because it kind of just disappeared out of the news.
It has just disappeared off the radar, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because it is very different over here. Have you ever used, like, Uber or Lyft in, like, the States? Because it's quite strange there, because anyone can be your driver there, can't they?
Right, yeah. I've not been out to LA for a while. I would have that. I've not had that problem.
It's like we had like we went on our honeymoon, and literally every time we had a driver, it was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a university student. Oh yeah, I'm a doctor part-time, and I do this kind of and it's like, whoa, like,
yeah.
So anyone can just download an app and be like, "I'll give you a lift."
Yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of what Uber and Lyft was like kind of made for. It was like this part of like the gig economy, like you can do it in your spare time to earn a bit of it.
That's quite good then, isn't it?
Have a license. It is, but then obviously the dark side of that is you don't know who the fuck's car you're getting into. So I think over here you have to have a taxi license, don't you, over here, which is the right way to do
I remember I've not been out to LA for a long time, but actors going out there to audition. I mean, I did that years back when I did a job there, and I stayed on doing auditions and things, and I don't think Uber was operating then. So I got me hire car. It was just like the freeways in LA when you're driving is just like a free for all. It's just absolutely it's terrifying, because you've got like 5 lanes of traffic and they're all just going 100 miles an hour, and it's just like Mario Kart. Like, where am I going? And it's just like, and I would be following this sat nav all the way to go all the way over to Burbank, over the other side of the city, to try and go to an audition. And you'd be like absolutely petrified driving there. And Ben Whishaw, the actor Ben Whishaw, said when he was in LA, it was like, if I kept following the sat nav, eventually it will get me to the place. Do you know what I mean? If you keep turning right, that's what he says, eventually I'll end up at my destination. But I guess now if you went over there, you could get Ubers everywhere. It'd be a lot easier, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
You would be a quivering
Well, yeah, but
full of mess when you walk into your audition.
It's funny you say that about driving in LA though, because I was googling it last night because I was texting Andy last night. Me and Charlotte were going to go to LA, and we're going to go to Vegas, but we're going to drive over there because just before we went to Miami for our honeymoon. And we hired a car there and drove around Miami. And the worst time to drive in Miami that we found on the freeway was at like 1 a.m. We drove to a place called Key West, which is basically a motorway in the middle of the ocean. So literally just one road, one lane on either side, and you drive for like 4 hours through the ocean, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Wow! No, I've never done Miami. It's an amazing place.
Oh, it's probably my favourite place I've ever been. It's beautiful. Wow!
Did you go there on your honeymoon then, Tomo?
Yeah. So we did. I think we only did about 5 days there. Then we went to Mexico for a bit. But just going back to the driving thing, we found that the worst time to drive was late at night. Throughout the day, it was fine. Right. Driving at night, but we was looking at driving through LA. But now you've just told me that, it's made me think,
no. I mean, maybe I was just a panic neurotic. Because when I was out, and Milo, our son he was young, you know what I mean? So he was in the back seat and Lou was in the passenger seat, and it was just like so much driving out there. That's all I remember, you know. And the traffic, certain points in the day, the traffic on the freeways and things is an absolute nightmare. So you'd spend half the day in your car driving about.
Who's the go-to driver out of you and Lou? Say if you popped out somewhere, who would you go to get in the driving seat?
We pretty much share it, really. She doesn't really drink though, Lou, so she's always the designated driver on a night out. So everyone's the winner. But we sort of share it out. Yeah, she's a terrible. The other thing about, because I had that accident, you know, which could have been horrendous. I mean, thankfully, everyone was okay, apart from my Mini Cooper. But I do tend to be, if I'm in the passenger seat, I'm a very nervous driver.
Oh, really?
I'm a little bit like, I always tend to sit in the back because it's that thing of, I just remember that impact of, it happened so quickly, the lights went back, and all I could do, it was just a natural instinct to curl myself up into the smallest ball possible because I knew I was going to hit the car head on. So it was, if a car comes out and I'm in the passenger, because I'm not in control of the car myself, I just get very twitchy.
Yeah, I think particularly, like driving in London is so like, there's just no etiquette. I think if a London driver, if someone who was, I don't know, say a black cabbie came to Grimsby and drove the way that he drives in London, he's going to get beat up. He'll stop at a red light and someone will get out and beat him up because they'll pull out and they're all like honking all the time, and it's like, when you get to Grimsby, it's just so chilled. Yeah. Everyone's like letting people go, and whereas in London,
you always have so much beef between drivers and cyclists. That's the other issue in London. You know, I mean, I was doing a play at the Donmar Warehouse years back, and I decided I'm just going to cycle in, which was great. You know, it was a beautiful cycle in every morning because it's pretty much downhill from East Finchley, where I live, into the centre of town. So you get this amazing view.
It's all right going to work, but what about getting home from work?
That was the problem. So I'd cycle in, and you'd see arguments with drivers and cyclists. You'd even get people having a go at you if you were cutting corners, or, you know, I mean, the thing is to never go up the inside of a lorry and things, all that sort of, those rules you have to take on board. But yeah, it was the cycle back after you've done a 2-show day and you've had a couple of jars in the bar and you've got to try. So I said, I haven't thought this through, have I? But it does, man. It wakes you up. I mean, I remember walking into rehearsals when I was doing that, and I was wide awake, and it's a proper nice workout, isn't it, to start the day?
Yeah, it's good. It's when you get started. When we did our long bike ride, we literally started and we was like, we'll just go here, and then you get to there, and then like, oh, we'll just go there, and then before you know it, you've covered so many miles, and then you get back, and it's just like somehow you've cycled all in miles, but then you find that you've got more energy. But I think that's the thing with exercise as well, isn't it?
Well, I think cycling also, it just takes you back to being a kid again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid in Buckhurst Hill, I mean, I was out on my BMX Amoco bike with my best mate Matt Farr, and we would literally, you know, Epping Forest, we'd be out the whole day. Sounds like proper jumpers for goalpost things, doesn't it? But it was that. It was on the BMX. I'd come back for my lunch, and then I'd be out again and come back for dinner. My mum and dad never saw anything of me. We were just always out and about.
That's the thing. I used to cycle to school in the morning, which I worked out the other day, which was like 4 miles, and then I'd do my day at school, then I'd cycle 4 miles home, and then I'd go back out on my bike with all the lads, and then I'd put it on the floor, and I'd use my bike as a goalpost, like you said, and we'd be playing football, and then on the weekend we'd just be playing football all day, and then we'd be out on our bikes at night, and it's like all we ever did when we was kids is exercise, whereas now it's like you're lucky to get me doing an hour's worth of exercise a day.
Well, it's very important. The steepest hill in Buckhurst Hill where I grew up was Stradbroke Grove. It's a very, very steep hill. And myself and Matthew used to always go down that hill, no hands. That was our thing. We go all the way down, no hands, all the time. And then one day the phone went, and it was my mum, and she says, and Matthew's mum Rita was on the phone. She said, Matthew's had an accident. I shouldn't laugh. I said, what do you mean? He said, he's come off going down Stradbroke Grove. He went down Stradbroke Grove on his own without me there. And he come off right halfway down, that got tangled under the bike. And I always remember going to see him. He was in a right mess. Why that popped in my head. But if you're going to do shit like that, have your mate with you. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and wear a lid.
Yeah. We never used to wear helmets or anything. No.
Oh. Did you ever? Was that ever a thing for you when you was younger as well, or now? Like a lot of people, motorbikes. Have they? Because that kind of comes hand in hand, doesn't it? Sometimes with flashy cars. People who want a Harley Davidson, or they want like a super bike or something like that. Has that ever appealed to you?
Well, I mean, I've got a hybrid bike at the moment. It sounds like a bit like your one, Tomo. It's sort of mixed between a road bike and a mountain bike, but I think you get, I don't know, I'm sort of toying with that idea of maybe buying like a proper, road bike thing and getting more into, because me and Milo my son, we still go on bike rides now. We'll go up to Ali Pally, and there's little bike routes you can go on. There's the disused railway line that goes all the way down to Finsbury Park. We do that sometimes, but road biking, cycling, that's really, it's massive now, isn't it? I mean, you just see all these. So maybe in a couple of years from now, I'm going to be one of those lycra-clad boy racers, aren't I? On a super bike thing, yeah.
Posting on Facebook so everyone can see where you've been.
Is that yours? Was that a dig at me, that, mate? What Andy was just saying, what about motorbikes? Have you ever been into motorbikes?
Oh, no. That's never been my...
Have you ever ridden one?
Eh?
Have you ever ridden a motorbike?
No, the only motorbike I ever got on was in the movie Made in Dagenham. And it was he loved his motorbikes, the character in that, as I remember. And he had a motorbike with a sidecar.
All right.
I'd never been on a motorbike. Like you, Andy, they would get a stunt double. And the only bit I had to do was on the Gascoigne estate in Barking, somewhere like that. And I just had to get on the bike, and they said they took me through it, and I just literally had to just cycle it or drive it forward a few feet and then stop. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I've picked it right up. God knows what I'd done, and I just took off on this.
It was a
man. I couldn't stay. Thankfully, nothing happened badly, but it was it was hilarious. I didn't want to do that again. But I always felt with motorbikes and things like that, even if you did come off, there's no roll cage or anything like that. You're just so exposed, don't you?
No, they're a dangerous game, motorbikes.
Because you used to, even when you was younger, didn't you, T?
Yeah, I used to like motorbikes a lot, yeah, when I was a kid. Yeah. But there was never mine. So the less we say about that, the better. No, but I remember the most scary motorbike experience I ever had was I was staying at Shane Meadows' house, and Andrew Shim was round. And we was playing a lot of computer games, and I ended up, and we was betting like a £5 a game on I think it was Need for Speed. And in the end, I I ended up taking sort of 45 quid off Shimmy, Andrew Shim. He hates handing money over at the best of times. So he's got this little 15-year-old kid that's going, yeah, you owe me 50 quid, you crap on FIFA. And then in the end, they hadn't decided how I was going to get back to Grimsby. So Shane was like, oh, you take him, Shim. And Shim was like, no, I've only got my motorbike. And Shim was like, okay, all right, I'll take him then. So I made Shimmy, I got on the back of Shimmy's, I think it was an R1.
Yeah.
And we drove from Nottingham to Grimsby on the back of this motorbike on the motorway. And it was the scariest experience I've ever had in my entire life.
Right, yeah.
It was just ridiculous because Andrew Shim's like, he's really, really good at riding. He rides them professionally.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of put me off ever wanting to get a motorbike because of the sheer power that them things have got. And I was only 15, but shitting myself.
I did have to get on one of those taxi bike once. That's also
I've done that in London. Yeah, they're fun.
I had to get from set to a screening, and the production company put it on, and this geese just went, right, here's your helmet, and you're wired up to the radio so he can talk to you, right?
But they're big chairs, aren't they? They're quite comfortable, them things.
But I was having to hold on to him, but my God, he took off, this fella. He was sliding in and out of the traffic. I was just like, oh, thank God I just got there in one piece. But
I had to go all the way from King's Cross to Elstree on the back of one of things, and fucking hell, they're just whipping in and out of traffic and stuff. Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, you just want to get there in one piece. So like, do you know what? I wouldn't mind being half an hour late if I've still got all my limbs. Thank you.
Wicked, man. Well, I think that's that pretty much wraps us up, Danny. Thank you very much.
Well, listen, lads, it was lovely chatting with you, and to see your faces again. You know what I mean? It's sort of because I know we worked together years back, didn't we, Andy? On
Common, wasn't it? Yeah.
Common. That's it. I was going to say Common.
Yeah, I killed Danny's son in Summit.
Oh, you did, didn't you? Yeah.
Wow.
You were wonderful, Andy. Fantastic, mate.
You too, man. You too. Oh, thank you, mate. It means a lot.
It's another cheery piece, wasn't it?
It was what?
I was. How did you kill Danny's son? I want to know how you did it. In Common, obviously.
It was a program. It was about a law, joint enterprise law.
Yeah, common law. Yeah.
Yeah, common law. So it was basically me and a couple of mates were in a takeaway.
Yeah, I remember
I ended up killing Danny's son in it, but then the whole group
was it Jimmy McGovern?
Jimmy McGovern.
It was Jimmy McGovern.
Great Jimmy McGovern.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
All right,
you were wonderful in it.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Well, listen, stay safe and well, chaps.
Yeah,
and,
you too, mate. Hopefully we'll have a drink or something when it's all okay to do so.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. All right, look, officer, stay safe and well, yeah?
All right, mate. Love to the family, mate. Bye.
And you, take care. Bye.
Another great episode in the can.
7, mate. 7 down.
Yeah,
good one.
Great storyteller. Huh? Sorry.
No, he is. Again, I think it's a testament to another guest that kind of we're quiet throughout it quite a bit, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. It's less work for us, really, isn't it? We're getting but I've got a new microphone, and I'm a bit like, I don't know where to be. But yeah, it's he's a great storyteller, and he's a bit like I touched base on the intro. He's very much like he can get an audience around him without realizing that he's doing it, and sort of captivates the people that he's telling stories to. So, yeah. Gotta imagine.
Go
on.
You go.
No, I forgot what I was going to say.
I was just going to say, obviously, for me, it was a strange one because like we touched on there, I don't drive, so I'm not. But I guess it is that thing in it for every. I don't know, but I can only speak for not for every lad, but for me, and I imagine every other lad. Like when you are young, you see fast cars and you want them and all that, and then you either kind of like Dan did, you get that fast car and you write it off, or you go out of it. or you don't grow out of it. I guess you don't write off. You don't grow out of it, and you still have a fucking dead fast car.
Yeah, yeah, there is that, isn't there? Yeah, I've never really been into them. I mean, like I touched base on in the chat. I had the Audi A3, but I mean that's not like a super car, is it? I mean, it was a nice car, but it was old. But yeah, it's never really been my thing, really. I remember Shimmy, Andrew Shim, for the people who don't know, he picked me up once in a Subaru when we was filming This Is England, and Shane absolutely bollocked him the day after because he picked me up in this Subaru. I've never been so scared in my life. It was an experience. So Shimmy's always been into fast cars, hasn't he? He's a bit of a motorhead. Would you call it a motorhead?
I think Shimmy's just a bit of an adrenaline junkie, isn't he? You know what I mean? He drives fast cars, fast motorbikes, gets in the cage with other men that like to hit him.
And plenty of other things that we shouldn't mention. Yeah, Shimmy's an adrenaline junkie, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. And
we need to get Shim on. We need to get Shimmy on here. We will get him on.
Him down in his little van.
Yes.
But so Danny's was brilliant. You know, the thing that got me is like he was talking there about the nostalgia of riding a bike. I've been on my bike quite a bit recently, like you say, with the lockdown and kind of riding with a friend and that. And it is.
Oh, you was at the airport. That looks amazing.
Yeah, it was nice, man. We found this nice little spot. We've lived near the airport our whole entire lives. And we found a spot the other day where so you can walk to it. It's fine. It's like a all signposted, like a little, you know, them little naturey paths. You know, when you walk into little wooden sign. So you basically sat on a bit of grass, and you're probably about 500, 400 meters away from the runway.
Wow.
So when you sit there, the planes literally, they must only be about 40 feet above your head as they land.
That's amazing. Yeah, it looks good, that. Hey, when we're allowed, when it's all safe to do so, I should put my bike on the back of the car and come to Manchester and we'll get something done.
Yeah, man.
Look, I'm well into biking at the minute. And like you said, it's like nostalgic, isn't it? Like me and Charlotte are loving it at the minute. That and golf.
Same. I'm going to get Em's a bike and we're going to go for it's going to be magical. So next week's guest.
Yeah.
You are announce who we're going to.
It's Big Tom Davies. He's on all of the comedy shows, and he's also the host now of Mock the Week. He's one of the hosts, or he's done quite a few on there. Yeah, very familiar face. Murdering Successful was probably the biggest thing he's done, which was funny. It was great.
Yeah. So that'll be a good one. Like I say, Tom, we've known for years. We wanted him on. We were going to have Tom on as a live guest when we planned to do it.
Yeah. I forgot about. Many moons ago.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that live didn't end up happening for a couple of reasons, but we managed to pin him down.
I mean, I won't be able to pin him down. That'd be a job, wouldn't it? It'd take 5 men. That. I reckon more. Imagine a bouncer having to throw that man out of a pub.
You wouldn't, would you? If someone came up to you and went, "Throw Big Tom out of this club."
Remember when I first met him? It was in the toilets. We'll talk about all this on next week. All the good stories.
Good teaser.
Huh?
Good teaser.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, it wasn't really a great story. It was just I remember when I first met him and kind of like turned my back and he was there and I just saw like the hips of a man at my eye level, and I kind of had to look up, and he's one of the biggest men I've ever met. He's got to be borderline giant, and he surely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So more on that next week. Yeah. In the meantime, guys, do keep liking, sharing, reviewing, subscribing, all that bollocks. And if you can, get on the Patreon. We've had a couple of new sign-ups, which is great. Which then means that we can put some money to good causes, which we're going to do. Thank you very much. See you next week for Big Tom.
Yeah, thanks.